Let's try to find a number that does not exist in the array. For example, 190. If you can look at the array, you will see that 190 or 190 does not exist in the array. This means the end result is going to be -1 because that's what binary search returns if it's not able to find the element. Let's start the algorithm. As before, binary search is going to identify the starting and the ending index and then calculate the midpoint based on that. Comparison is done with the element at the midpoint, and we can see that the number we are searching for is smaller. So this means the number has to be on the left side of the midpoint. So in this case, we are going to move the n index to midpoint -1. New midpoint is calculated. We'll go to 7. Same comparison. This time, the number we are searching for has to be on the right side of the midpoint. So we're going to move the starting index. We're going to calculate a midpoint with 8 and 14, which is going to be 11. Comparison is going to be done. Since the number that we are searching for is smaller, it has to be on the left side of the midpoint. So we're going to move our n index this time. We are going to calculate the midpoint, 9, and then do the comparison. Since the number we are searching for is greater, this means it has to be on the right side of the array. This means we are going to move our starting index to midpoint +1. Now we are going to calculate the new midpoint, which is going to be 10 plus 10 divided by 2, 10 itself. Going to do the comparison, and we will see that the number we are searching for is smaller. So this means the number has to be on the left of the midpoint. In this case, what happens? We are going to move our end index. So end index is going to be the midpoint -1, which is going to be 9. Okay? Now, this is the point where binary search is going to stop the process and going to return -1. Why? Because we have an exit condition, and the exit condition is when the starting index crosses the ending index. When both indexes cross each other, this means the array has been completed. If the element has not been found, this means the element does not exist in the array. What does it mean that the starting index and the ending index cross each other? This means when the value of starting index becomes greater than the value of the ending index, this means they have crossed each other. Remember, in this case, the starting index has to be always smaller than the ending index. When we are scanning through, you can see that they both are approaching each other. But in every case, the starting index is going to be always smaller than the ending index. The only way that would happen is when the whole array has scanned and they have reached each other, and then they have come to a point where they're crossing each other. So in this case, remember, our blue circle is our starting index. Our orange circle over here is the ending index. So in this case, starting index is still smaller than the ending index, so everything is good. But when we move forward, you will see that eventually our ending index becomes 9 and our starting index is still 10. This means they have crossed over. The starting index has become greater than the ending index, or ending index has become less than the starting index. This is the condition which tells binary search to stop processing. This means that the element that we are trying to search has not been found, is not present in the array. And in this case, binary search is going to return -1, which is correct. 190 does not exist in the array. In the next videos, we'll write some steps to see how binary search is working before we go into the coding part.